Step off the train all alone at dawn, back into the home where I was born. Sun in the sky never raised the night to me. The blood on the track suddenly must be mine.
Look at Mbappe, three wide going into the corner.
And Mbappe does it. Oh, what a move! What a move!
You know what I mean? All my people right here, right now. You know what I mean? All my people right here, right now. You know what I mean?
Put himself in the history books. He is, without a doubt, the man of F1XL. But now he's a three-time F1XL champion. He's brilliant.
For what you believe, so open up your fist, no you won't receive the thoughts and the words of every man you need.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think there is actually any ladies out there, but it was well worth the effort. I think effort. I'll do that. What a way to start the season! The Azerbaijan Grand Prix was absolutely phenomenal, and wow, F1. If you haven't seen it yet, honestly, go and watch it. It is by far my favourite race in a long time. But enough about that for now. Let's get Mr. Tazo into the swing of things. He is here with me, like normal now. I think it's the normal thing to be seen. But yeah, we're here for what is, I really do think is going to be an entertaining season 16.
We're back, bitches. Missed us
and that's
for a
PG
whole
out the window
however many
straight.
weeks it's been. Damn right. Oh man, it's going to be a good season. I think without even going too much into depths. They say don't overreact over the first weekend. Forget that. Already we have 3 teams that have hit 60 points and multiple teams all within next to nothing. And then, Mr. Experience, the man of the moment, as he calls himself, Mr. Big Shot, Xbox Nuthead and his Ferrari team right at the bottom. Can't even see him on that little graphic. It's glorious.
Yeah, not the what is it? Isn't it that like 3 magpies are occupying the bottom 3 of the bottom 4 spaces, something like that?
I think you're right there, yeah. And the other team is the reserve team.
And all their points came from a certain Squidgy Genie who did clearly not get picked in the F1 side of things. So absolutely.
I was going to give him a little shout out there actually because he put a tweet out. I don't know if you've seen it at all, but he put a tweet on the response to us saying scored more points than Ferrari.
Wow, that's mental. Roland, thank you very much for your. Was that 23 months? 25 months. Holy moly. Thank you very much for that. Unfortunately, the blue flag on my system just doesn't seem to work. I am looking into getting those things working. I just don't know how. It just doesn't seem to want to work on my system for some unknown reason. But much appreciated nonetheless. So, this is it. This is the first race done and dusted and absolutely incredible stuff. Yeah, poor Seb, he's... not only is he suffering on track, he's suffering on our stream as well. Taz, let's go with where are we going to go first?
Well, I think when he joins in a second, we'll probably start off with F4, the traditional way. We'll do it proper. We'll do it in reverse order.
So I've got to be perfectly honest. I can't remember who you've got for this. So it'll be a momentarily bit of surprise for me. However, I'm sure I'll pick it up quite quickly. F4, I don't even remember who finished where in F4 as well, but that's a great start of the show for me. Really not with it. I think
I'm glad you're prepared. I've got all these notes written down and everything, and you're like, yeah, things.
I mean,
you know what? While we're waiting, though, I need to point something out to those who have watched the stream, and even those who haven't watched the stream from Sunday yet. Wizard jokes. Come on, man. I need to point this out. Like, I thought you were bigger than that, but no, you make jokes about things you don't have a clue about. That's like, Roland trying to make jokes about rugby, or Claire making jokes about football, things they don't know about.
I mean, it's top quality streaming, bringing up Harry Potter. He's everywhere, isn't he? Isn't that what wizards do?
Maybe like 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago when all the movies were big, Now there's no more being released. They've done all the movies and yeah.
Oh, well, they've got that
Roland
thing.
Roland in the chat just replied going, "What's rugby?" My point proven.
Definitely. Right, Taz, seeing as your first guest, do you want to do F4?
Yeah, you know what? We'll do my own league. F4 for tonight. I'll be honest with you, it's an Irishman that everyone can actually understand for a change and not chaos with the subtitles. Gauls, good evening.
Yes,
That was a
good
good
evening,
impression
Paul.
of it, to be fair. Oh,
How are you guys?
yeah, we're good. How are you getting on?
Not too bad.
Well, I bet you didn't expect me to be sitting here tonight saying this to you. Race 1, 25 points on the board.
Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, I know for a
No,
fact that
okay.
during the off season you were slightly not downhearted, but I think you were really disappointed at how slow you felt. So
I
I'm
was,
pleased
yeah,
for you.
especially after 2 social races we did the 2 weekends before the season started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where was this pace when it was
Way off
Tasso
the
versus
pace.
Warder, by the way?
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Them races, I don't know what was going on. I think it was the way. Myself now. The weather conditions had a lot to do with it.
Okay, yeah, I can give you that because it was raining both races. So yeah. Do you know what? Qualifying first.
Yeah.
Go on, give us a little rundown of how your qualifying went. Where you ended up qualifying in the end.
I ended up 11th. So I did, but all through practice I tried on the soft tyres, but then I went back into my team chat and they said do not start on the softs. So I decided then in qualifying to try the mediums. And I ended up in 11th place, but not too far off 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to do a long first run.
So obviously it lined up really well for you at the start of the race then.
It did, yeah, it did. So then
the
when
start
the
of
race
your race?
started, like, gone hard.
On you go.
Oh no, continue. Next question, mate.
I was literally going to say, so the start of the race, did you start on the mediums or did you end up on the hards? So yeah, you started on the hard tires,
no.
yeah?
No, I decided to go with the hards because I thought myself, like, there's going to be a few safety cars around here early. And I reckon myself then to go on the hard tyre was the best because it'll last me longer and I wouldn't be under as much pressure because there'd be probably 3 to 6 laps under a safety car before I had to pit anyhow, so the strat I went with worked.
Yeah. And obviously, I think for me anyway, it was a bit of a surprise. Sort of, I was just driving along, and then suddenly you were P1, and I was like, "Well, where the hell did that come from?" Was it a surprise to you as well?
It was a bit. I thought I might have, from where I started, I thought I might have finished about P5, P4, but there was a couple of guys in front of me had issues themselves, and a lot of them pitted twice, where I only pitted once.
Mm-hmm.
And that played into my. And the fact then when my pit stop came around, it was under safety car conditions, and it was right in front of the pit lane, so I didn't really lose any time. I gained a lot.
Oh, okay. So that's sort of, it was down to strategy as well as obviously the luck. Well, that's good.
And it was the factor where the safety car came out. I was so close to the pit lane. It worked perfectly, like.
Love it when
Apart
that
from that,
happens.
I reckon my teammate could have actually won it.
Yeah, I think we better touch on him as well. Actually, 1-2 for Renault in the first weekend of the season. That's
Yes,
literally
and he got the
the
quickest lap,
perfect
he got
way
the
to start
fastest
off.
lap as well. Like, he took maximum points.
So pretty much you covered every point.
Yeah.
Did you expect that to happen at all?
No, not after being through in the team practice and F4 practice on Sunday night. I didn't think it would happen. I thought myself that the Mercedes team, Howie, I thought he looked very fast. I know he had issues during the race himself.
Yeah, there was
I
a few
think-
guys that sort of
Yeah.
they had pace, but maybe just didn't quite execute the right way.
No, it didn't happen for them. Like, but, hey, it's only the first race of the year or the season. Like, long way to go, yeah.
Obviously, with it being a street track, there is obviously that little element of making sure you're keeping the car at the wall.
Yeah.
I think you probably you know for a fact you did it better than most.
I didn't
you think
lose
that-
no wing.
Yeah, and that's something. Obviously, if you're in the middle of the pack, you balls up quite a lot. But do you think
Yeah,
on
I
maybe a
found
more
it when
open
I came up
track-
to it. At the earlier part of the race now before, I was up at the front, like when I was in 6th, 7th, 8th position. Trying to follow guys through section 3 was impossible.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
try to stick to the back of them.
Yeah.
So do you think that this
Couldn't do it.
weekend at like a more open track like France, you're going to have maybe a lot tougher race because there'll
Yeah,
be
I'll have a lot more
open track?
issues here. For any league races I've done, I haven't had great results at France, so I'm not really expecting a hell of a lot. If I can get a top 8 out of it, I'll be happy. Just getting into the points will be fun.
Yeah. Obviously, like France, was that on the previous game or does that include like this game as well? Have you done any racing on this game yet?
I haven't done any league racing in this game yet. I've done it a couple of time trial laps only in the Renault car, like, but that's about it.
Yeah.
But I've done it on
I feel
previous games, like on 2018 and all, like, done league racing and all, but was it 2017 it came first, was it?
I want to say it was 2018 the game, but
2018 it came first.
I think so. I think it's. You know what? You might be right. It might be 4 years that we've been racing there, which is just depressing more than anything. But
It's a sad track, like, it's as bad as Mexico. So
it's one of those tracks. It's like you don't really want to do it, but you just kind of have to do it.
But then again, I always thought that about Bahrain, and then they sort of changed the layout of it. It was a better track. Maybe they might do it with it, get rid of that stupid chicane down the back straight.
You just want that really long straight like at Baku, then, yeah.
Yeah, we'll all do set up 5. Who cares about the
Right.
other 2 sections?
I'm gonna allow my esteemed colleague. I
Alright,
think that's
then.
the only time I'll give him a compliment. Gareth, come on, I know you're sitting there eager to ask questions, so on you go.
Colleague or comrade?
We've gone a bit Russian there. I thought,
Yet.
but okay. It's obviously with France. You're saying you're not looking forward to it. You've had a
No.
bit of bad time with it, but do you think maybe? Obviously, you've come into this with this race. You've got a pretty good result to go into it with. Do you think that'll be a bit of a booster for you to do a bit better, or are you happy to have this as a poor track, maybe not even get points, then be ready for Abu Dhabi at week 3?
I know, something I've learned about league racing is you're not beaten until it's over, so you're going to pick something up, but stay at it. Go to the end of the race, like, so. Even if I'm not having a great race, I'm going to stick at it, so if I can get 8th place, or if I can get 5th place, I'm over the moon, 5th place, like. Oh, with a lot of guys that were in this league last year and now gone, up to F3, it might be a little bit easier. You know what I mean?
Well,
There's a
enough,
lot
that
of-
was my thinking
there's
as
a lot
well.
of really serious fast guys last year in F4.
Do you think that obviously you've said with those guys going? Do you think obviously with Renault you've got Greeners? It's looking positive as a starting point for both of you. Do you think it's
Oh, definitely.
you two going to be against the world right now, or do you think there's going to be the McLaren of Dave or Mr. Tazo or someone else?
I
that
know,
will
I can
be
see
in there?
Dave's quick. I can see Dave, Howie, and Lucky. 13 if he shows up for a full season. he might be a bit of a handful, but he's a very, very fast driver.
And what's your aim for the season?
I'd like to finish in the top 3. I've never actually pulled off a top 3.
So you're really
There could be
going
a
for it this
possibility
season?
of it this season. Yeah, I'd like to.
Fair enough.
As I said, it's only early days, and there's a couple of bogey tracks coming.
What is your most favourite track as well? We'll throw that question in.
Spain.
My God, someone that loves Spain. What? Taz.
Just is.
I know, it's finally happened.
I've never won an F1XL race in Spain. I came close to it. I've taken a pole position there, and I've taken the fastest lap. But I got a puncher. I think it was 4 laps from the end one season. I took the win away from me.
So in
It's always
7
been my
weeks'
favourite
time,
track.
we should be expecting a win, yeah?
No. A podium, and I'd be very happy. On my favourite track, like, you know what I mean? A win would be like a dream come true or something like that.
We'll find.
I'm just going to have
goals for
to
tyres at
say
that
something
point.
quickly here. Roland
Jimmy.
has just butted in on the chat with the word, what? How can you like Spain? What the fuck?
Well, I don't. I don't not like it. Okay. Maybe that sounds better.
Yeah, that's maybe the right way to do it. Thank you, sorry, I interrupted that glorious comment.
Yeah, all I said was I think if Goals wins that Spanish Grand Prix, he'll retire from league racing. That's it. That's that's what it sounds like right now.
Yeah, I'll sit back happy. I'll do a Rosberg on it.
Fantastic.
I'll sponsor some kind of alcohol.
You'll start brewing your own ale or something.
Make me live in that way. Yeah.
All right, Taz. Anything else for Mr. Goals?
No, I think that's it for me from the Irishman that I can actually deal with. Yeah, I hope to beat you this weekend at France.
We'll see what happens, mate. We'll see what happens. Anyways, from Chaos's husband, I'll talk to you all later.
Right, see you later.
Good luck.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Goals.
Bye-bye.
And I think it is time to hit on to F3. Unfortunately, we had a last minute. Oh,
1
wait.
second.
Oh no!
What do we do before we go into F3?
You want your butt plug?
Butt plug.
To see if someone can do.
Wait.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What are we promoting this week?
So this week, I think with the F1 races still flying quite high, maybe we should advertise pickles. Oh, that's a bit awkward. Pickles. GP Gaffer. Yeah. Is that a good enough plug for you?
Yeah. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing terribly at it.
What's the website?
It's GP Gaffer. Just Google GP Gaffer. I'm sure it's .co.uk, but
Pickled, if you are watching this, I do apologise for the lack of professionalism from him, but
for
you know.
murdering it.
I think it is gpgaffer.com. Yeah, gpgaffer.com. There we go.
Well, we had a 50%
Next race, Belgium,
chance
11 days time.
whether it was going to be gpgaffer.com or .co.uk, and I got it wrong. So awesome. But yeah, definitely give it a go. It's a nice little fun thing to do on the side as well. I don't really like changing my chassis or my engine through the season, or my drivers, to be honest. But I know a lot of people do. But it is a good laugh. I think the more people on it, the better it will be. And see who's the best F1XL member in that. We do have our own league there as well. So definitely give it a go. Give it a word as well. Why not?
Word.
I thought there would be something of the aviation variety. Word is a word.
Oh no. No. Enough.
Sky, thank you very much for your 7 months worth of subscription. Much appreciated, friend. So Taz, we've also got a little quiz today. I'll let you explain what it is before we head there, before we head to F3.
Yeah, so in about 12 minutes time, 11 minutes time, we'll probably run over that, knowing us, because that's what we do best. Doing a little thing just to try it, see what you guys think. My life will be the first contestant on, what do we agree with this? Tazo's 10 for a tenner, I think is what we called it. I'm going to go with that. Tazo's 10 for a tenner. So 10 questions, 90 seconds, 5 of them are F1 related, 5 of them are general knowledge. And if you get all 10 of them right within the 90 seconds, £10 Xbox voucher straight away. No questions asked. I say no questions asked, there's 10 questions asked, but you know. Every time the question's asked, we'll simply allow them the chance to either answer or pass. First answer must be accepted, and we can go back to any past questions. First answer must be accepted, yeah. So that'll be around about past. That's been fun for a minute, Gareth. So I think it's time to move on to F3.
Yes. Right. As short answers as best as possible.
Oh god, you can tell we've not done this for a few weeks, can't you?
We've been slacking, you know, off season. We haven't really done much preparation, or not preparation, just not much practice for Xtra. However, so like I was mentioning earlier, we've had an unfortunate last minute dropout. These things unfortunately happen. Doesn't mean you're going to be put on a blacklist unless you do it like 3 times in a row. Then I just won't talk to you again. But I could have kept going with a straight face, but I can't. However, Taz and I are just going to look through the standings and see how things are. I'd pretty much go from there. There's a few. We had 4 DNS. Yes, 4 people who did not start. The 2 Hasses, a Williams of TES Signs, he was probably asleep, and Ice Storm in the Alfa Romeo. Kind of a bog standard thing. Unfortunately, you will have people who don't turn up, but there was quite a number of DNFs in this race, Dad.
Yeah, I'm looking down the list of people as well, and there's a couple that are surprising. I mean, you've got guys like My Life who he's a hit or a miss sometimes with street tracks. Saxon's usually pretty consistent. Ash Rainbow, I think, I know for a fact that some of the guys who are listening that was in the pre-season social, he had a ton of pace. Yeah, and then you've got the usual pretender of chaos who, I don't know what it is, he either finishes really highly or crashes out. And with walls like Baku, I'm not surprised that happened.
It is a shame, but these things, like you say, do happen. We do, I don't want to say it's a surprise podium, because, to be honest, we always knew one was going to be a dead cert, I think, after it being explained that he did no practice for his TT. Which is our bad.
Yeah, I'm not going to name any names. But Jam, yeah.
Yeah, not going to name James, but I am the Jam. No, I mean, but he said it was going to be his worst track, and he managed to pull it off. Obviously, proving that it's the incorrect league. Sambo, thank you very much for 19 months resub.
19th month.
Let's hope it's not your 19th month today, anyway. But yes, so Jam was always going to be a strong contender, and he's done what he had to do. But Total Caesar, that's an interesting one. The Racing Point team owner doing a very good job for his team, leading by example, I guess. By claiming P2, and then CXR Ghost, who claimed P3 in the McLaren. I believe he was he F2, F3 last season?
He was F3, he drove for Renault, and he was very unlucky not to be higher in the standings. Viper Ghost Viper, I think, is one of the underrated drivers in the league. I think he's a cracking little guy. He doesn't say much, I'll be honest with you. Like in the team chats and that, he barely said a word. Just turns up, gets on with it, finishes highly. Yeah, I think he's a cracking little driver. As for Caesar, I'm just going to make a quick point on him as well. I'm not overly surprised that he finished P2. Everyone who will, who's in F4 last season will preach when I say this. Caesar is annoyingly consistent. He doesn't ever really make a mistake. He just puts the track on, and he'll get to a lap time, and he'll stick with that lap time, lap after lap after lap after lap, to a point where it's almost infuriating sitting behind him. And he just does that. He gets himself up to high positions because he doesn't make the mistakes.
You can say it's a good trait to have if you're the driver, but not a good trait to have if you are a title contender with him. I mean, looking through the list of drivers, you got a standout right now for a championship or championship battle? I mean, there's some really good drivers through that league.
Well, I mean, I think it's been made pretty obvious that I don't think Jan will be sticking around in F3 for too long, so I'm going to ignore him. I'll be honest, I do think that for me, Beastie, he's going to hate me for saying this, he's right up there for me. He is a very, very quick driver. And at a track like France, Abu Dhabi, I think you see him with too much pace for Caesar's consistency to keep up with, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. It's obviously a league also with the most team owners in one league, I believe, isn't it? 3 team owners? 4 team owners, sorry.
I think so.
Because you've got
Yeah,
Chaos,
that's
Norris,
right. That's nearly half of them.
Beastie, and STR Total Caesar. So it's going to be a feisty league no matter what, I think, in this one, because you're going to have the team owners wanting to get one over on each other as well. I think if Norris gets it right, he'll be better. But I do think this league's most promising team could actually well be that Mercedes, the Tracing Point. I'm calling it Mercedes now. I might as well.
You're calling it everything.
The Tracing Point is clearly a copy of the Mercedes, but yeah, I think that's definitely going to be a tough overall team to beat in that league.
I agree. I was the one that picked Conte to go along with Caesar, and I didn't even know at the time that he was the fastest, apparently, Tier 1 driver at the time either. So I think give Conte an open track. There's absolutely no reason why he can't be pushing up there. Ben in the chats just said, thanks for the added pressure. You're welcome. Hope you crash out. Right, I think I've done enough making enemies, haven't I?
Yeah, I think so for now. But what we will do is class. Jan probably not there for next week, but I mean French Grand Prix. I know we don't have much to go on by, but who do you reckon? Is it going to be Beastie? You're gonna add even more pressure onto the poor guy, or are you going to go with someone else?
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, he's going to win this weekend. Let's put the real pressure on him, see how he reacts to that.
Sorry, Beastie. I didn't actually think he was going to go through with that, but I'm gonna go with a. I'm actually gonna go with a Mercedes driver. I think Sebastian might be an interesting choice. I mean, claimed P4 in the first round. Can't really tell his pace because I wasn't there, but I mean, to get P4, it's a pretty good position to be in through that. So one to watch, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I suppose I better move it on to quiz time. Yeah.
It's the quiz time. I wish I had that little grill the grid thing that Ping has had, but I don't think
what grill the grid thing?
Ping has had a little a thing to pop up saying grill the grid, and it was a little intro for grill the grid, but I don't have it.
Just need to get a new one made, that's all.
Maybe when I get time.
So, our guest for tonight is my life, if he joins. And I'm not going to lie, I've not made it the easiest 10 questions ever. But Gareth, being the wonderful assistant that he is, you're going to keep the time and write down his answers, yeah?
I am indeed.
No pressure whatsoever. Do you know what? While we're waiting on him, we didn't actually talk about the winners for F4. We normally do that.
No, yeah, we do usually, but we haven't. And who you go for it? Go for it. You go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna be slammed for this one. I feel like I've got a good chance of winning it this weekend.
Okay, Tazo going for himself.
I'm under 0.2 of a second down on Swain in the hardest sector of the track. So if I'm doing that, then I must be doing something right.
Okay, fair. I can understand your reasonings into that one. I'll go with F1XL Dave. Goals were saying he was pretty quick. He is a quick guy, so we'll go with that.
Yeah, I think so. It's a good show. Okay, I think it's time for my life to start speaking. Good evening.
Good evening. Taz, you winning F4, are you sure?
Listen, you finishing in F3 would be a good thing.
Okay, fair play.
Yeah. This is coming from the guy who said, "Oh yeah, I think I could be F2. I'm really quick this season."
Again, he could
I
be
don't
if he
recall
could.
ever saying that.
Well, I have evidence on WhatsApp, but unlike Arnie Bats on Twitter, I'm not going to expose you for what you are.
Thank you, I appreciate that. Let's get on with the quiz.
Absolutely right. So, just to remind you of the rules, so I'll ask you the 10 questions within the 90 seconds. You can pass if you don't know, come back to them. If you do answer it, we will accept your first answer.
I thought we were going for 50 seconds.
If you get the 10. No.
Okay.
So, if we did 50 seconds, I would need to ask and he would need to answer in an average of 5 seconds.
Fair enough.
So, 90 seconds on the clock. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Gareth, you say the word.
Start.
Outside the top 3, which other driver has made Q3 in every race this season?
Lando Norris.
What is the capital of Canada?
Pass.
Kimi Raikkonen's distance driven in F1 is how many times around the equator?
Pass.
What year was the Berlin Wall knocked down?
Pass. I'm not very good at this.
How many times has George Russell been out-qualified by a teammate?
Once.
LeBron James plays for which NBA franchise?
LA Lakers.
As of this season, Danny Ricciardo has driven for how many F1 teams?
3.
How many members are in Little Mix?
4.
What year did Williams last win a championship?
Pass.
What is the chemical symbol for lead?
Pass.
What is the capital of Canada?
I'm going to say Ottawa.
Done.
Okay.
1 or 2.
Okay. My God, you had a panic halfway through there, I could tell.
Yeah.
Not easy, is it?
It's a lot easier. It sounds a lot easier than what it is, I have to say.
Yeah,
Good
I
thing
wanted
it
I wanted
wasn't
to make
50
sure I
seconds.
could put some. I know. Would have been what, question 4 or 5 maybe?
Oh, not got anywhere near the end if it was 50 seconds.
Okay, so before we go through them, how many do you think you got right?
Probably 2. What, 2 or 3? It's not many.
Okay, so outside the top 3, which other driver has made Q3 in every session this season? Gareth, the answer is?
Landed.
It was given as the answer of Norris.
Correct. What is the capital of Canada? Right, you came back to this one and you said
Ottawa.
correct.
It was either
Yeah,
that
either way.
or Quebec.
Quebec is a state, but yeah, well done on that one though. Okay, so Kimi Räikkönen has driven like what distance around the equator? You didn't
That's
answer that one.
63,000 kilometers or something. But I think
so he's
twice
driven-
round the equator.
It is twice. You should have said
Yeah.
it. Okay, so what year was the Berlin Wall knocked down?
I haven't got a Scooby on that one.
Gareth, do you want to take a guess?
83.
89.
Oh, it was when I was born, wasn't it? Bollocks.
Okay, what was the next one we've got? George Russell has been out-qualified by a teammate. Never.
Oh, I thought he got qualified at Spain.
Yep, he's never been out-qualified. LeBron James plays for the LA Lakers. How many teams has Danny Ricciardo driven for? I think you said
3 was given.
I said
3, wasn't
3. Yeah.
Gareth, what do you think the answer is?
I think it's 4.
It is 4. Well done. He drove for HRT for half a season.
Bollocks.
Yeah, it's a tricky one, that one. Okay, next one we've got, how many members of Little Mix? You said 4?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Big
I'm
limits,
not
man.
gonna lie, I got I got put off the second I said it because all I heard was Gareth laughing. What year did Williams last win a championship? I think you passed on that one.
Is it 98?
Gareth?
97.
97 it is.
Jacques Villeneuve.
Jacques. Jacques. And then the last question was the chemical symbol for lead.
Well, I don't know.
Any idea on this one? Either of you?
Oh, it's something like BP. No, not BP. Is it PB? Or
PB. Well done. How did you pull that out your arse?
I
It is PB. It comes from the Latin for plumbum, I think, is what it stands for.
I just think of the. I was getting confused with British Petroleum.
Okay, so my life, I think you ended up with, is it 3 or 4? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4, is that right? Yeah. 4 out of 10. I'm lucky. It was a decent effort. I did say that the questions weren't going to be easy though, and that's just a little warning to anyone else who decides they want to come in and try win a tenner from me. I'm not going to make it easy.
We will also bring back
Someone had
the
to be the guinea pig though.
5.
Hey, listen, everyone has to be the first. Oh yeah, that will be coming back in the future, I think we'll say. I'm not going to say when, just I'll leave that out there.
Yeah, it's in the
But,
pipeline. It's in the pipeline. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
Just to annoy
My
Penis
life.
again.
Anything anything you want to say while you're on the show before we tell you to bugger off?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish in France. So watch out.
I wish you all the best for this weekend, and I would like to see you do well because I know that you've been pushing hard. So stick at it, you'll be fine.
Thank you very much.
Right, thank you. We'll speak to you later.
Thank you. Cheers, Gareth.
Wow, thank you very much, My Life. Much appreciated you taking your time out to take on Mr. Tazo's quiz.
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 I can Quiz Eubank.
Let's move on to F2. Let's head there. It's the most. It was the most populated league on Sunday, which was great to see. We only had, well, technically, we had only one not turn up, but there was a lag issue for someone. So let's pull away, see how it all goes along. And Taz, do you want to take F2? Because obviously F1 would probably be more my forte.
I mean, yeah, you know what, I will. I'll go for it. I'll interview. No, you take it. Do you know why? Because this is my team winner. It would be biased.
Oh yeah, I forgot you.
Yeah, I will allow you to take F2 and F1, and then I can sit and hype up with questions every now and again.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for popping along onto the show, Leclerc or Madison or Jamie.
We'll go with Leclerc.
So, return to team ownership this season for you. Before we head to the Baku Grand Prix, what was your decision to return? What forced your hand? Let's say.
I love the Red Bull. Want to challenge for the title, the constructors that is, and a few drivers' titles hopefully. And all the lads are incredibly good. A lot of helpful tips for everyone about strategy and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's time to put on a title fight. That's my main reason for coming back.
Who are you most worried about after round one? That is.
McLaren looks strong. Obviously, it's way too early to tell at the moment. But I am very, very surprised by Renault, that's for sure. I think F4 certainly helped them guys out with the points they've got. But yeah, it's too early to call at the moment. But AlphaTauri F1 looks scary with who is it? It's Light Shock and Pingers, isn't it? So that's definitely a team to look out for.
Yeah, they didn't have the best of lucks there either in F1. However, we're not this part of the show. We're not here for them. We're here for F2. Now let's talk quickly about qualifying. How was it for you? And
I know where I messed up. So Phantom Wizard took pole with a 1:39.093. An incredible lap by Phantom, who is looking ridiculously quick, by the way, guys. And then myself just behind him in P2 with a 1:39.094. 1,000th of a second in qualifying separated myself and Phantom. That 45 P3. It was a relatively good qualifying for myself. Like I said, I knew where I messed up. It's the... Oh, what turn would it be? 17? 16 or 17, the downhill left-hander at the end of Sector 2. I lost a little bit of time there, so I think pole was on the cards. But I still can't complain at the P2 for quality. Yeah, qualifying was ridiculously close between myself and Phantom, and then looking down the rest of the grid as well. Matt 45 in P3, BX P4, Roll Hard Lad P5. So the usual suspects up there. Yeah, not
really too sure what to say on qualifying, apart from the fact it was a relatively decent one.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
the top 10 was separated by 6/10 of a second. A second down to 13th, so relatively close qualifying in F2, as it usually is.
Fair enough. Before we head on into the race, you mentioned about Phantom's pace. Do you think that automatically kind of puts him into a title challenge because he is that quick?
You can't write him off. We had a good battle for the majority of the Grand Prix, which we'll get onto shortly. But Phantom's up there. Matt 45 is up there. If Matt 45 can get some wins under his belt, then he's certainly looking good for the McLaren team. But you can't write anyone out of F2 just because of how close the field is.
Okay, let's move on into the race. How was it for you, and do you think there was anything you could have done against Phantom?
Grand Prix was relatively good. There is something I think I could have done to beat Phantom, but that's more towards the end of the Grand Prix. He just started running away with it early on. He had the pace. He had incredible pace, to be fair. So at the beginning of the Grand Prix, there's not really much I could have done. Gaps seemed to form relatively quickly as well. And then the safety car came out, so bunched everyone back up again. Decided to change my strategy completely because I was originally doing a one-stop. So dove in the pits for new mediums and ultimately went to the two-stop strategy, as did Phantom and Map 45. But yeah, not really too much happening early on. Obviously, safety car came in. And I tell you something, when you're chasing for the lead, you don't realise how much ERS you use. So I think that's where I messed up. If I can sort out using the energy where I need to, then I think I'll be in for a decent season. But I did get past Phantom in the end, and then he took it straight back. Because I'll say it again, and I'll probably say it all season. The guy is insanely quick. Like, he knows how to use his energy. He's really smooth. I'm not sure if he's on a wheel or a pad or not, but yeah, the guy is incredible. So, going back to your previous question about championship contender, I would definitely say he's up there. If not one of the favourites already.
Fair enough. Right, let's move on to the French Grand Prix then. It's a little bit different circuit to the streets of Baku. How are you finding it? Who do you think is going to be up there? Is it going to be an interesting one for you?
Interesting for me, definitely. I'm not a great fan of France. There's just something about it. It's a DRS train track. I need to do a lot more practice on it than I have been doing because I just really don't feel comfortable around it. But I know BXTN90 likes France, and I mean, we've had a couple of good races there in the previous seasons, so he's one to look out for. Obviously, Phantom Wizard as well, and Map 45 I think will be up there. But personally, for me, I'll just be happy to score some decent points. And look forward to the upcoming races and kind of write France off, but not at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I can catch what you mean with that. You just do what you can in it. If you get a decent amount of points, then you'll be happy. But if you only get an 8th or 7th or 8th finish, it's not the end of the world for you.
Absolutely, especially as it's only round 2. A lot of stuff can happen. It's the longest season we're gonna have so far, so picking up points or not picking up points early on is not too much of an issue. So if you start having that bad run of form like midway through the season when the points are crucial, and towards the end, that's when it can all go wrong for you.
Certainly. Mr. Tazo, have you got anything for TES Leclerc? Sorry, just the name changes just constantly put me off.
Yeah. What setup we go for this weekend, and what's your strategy? Wait, no, sorry, no. Are you?
Yeah, set up 1.
Okay, yeah, that's what I've been practicing on, so that's fine.
That's cool.
Realistically, this season, obviously you've got someone in Bobzilla who last season was, F4 champion, but also, perhaps in a league that was too easy for him. Do you think your challenge this season is going to be try and sort of not drag him along, but sort of bring him up to your level for this season?
Absolutely, that's what I'm hoping to do with all the guys in lower divisions to me. You know yourself, Taz, from last week, as soon as the team draw was done, the next day we had a practice session with 99% of the team. So yeah, I mean, if we can keep getting everyone onto practice and work as a team as we have been, then I think everyone will pick up tips and tricks along the way. I think that's the main thing, and consistency is key in Formula 1. So if you can keep it consistent, keep it clean, then you're on for a good result.
Yeah, absolutely. And for this season, do you think the team can win everything, or do you think it's going to be a case of that we aim for, sort of top 3 and be happy with that?
Oh, jeez. Obviously, I'm a competitive guy. A lot of people know that. I would love to win everything. But realistically, I don't think that's the case at the moment. But I said in the PM that Warder sent out to everyone that I want the top 3 at least. Because if we can get a top 3 and then we can build on that in the future and have another strong team like we do this season and potentially get some titles under our belt. But of course everyone wants to win. It's just putting that into good words.
Practice.
It's just performing on the track. Yeah, putting that into practice and performing on the track. If we can all perform as a team on the track, then I don't see why we can't win.
Yeah. Gareth, you wouldn't ask him anything else before we tell him bugger off?
No, I think that's about covered it, to be perfectly honest. We'll move on. Thank you very much,
Yes.
Leclerc,
Cheers,
for popping in, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah,
Yes,
cheers for
thank
having
you
me on
very
the show
much.
again, guys. Have a good rest of the stream. And good luck in your
Cheers.
co-op.
We'll need it. Oh, well. F2, done, dusted. And going to give a little shout out as well while we're here to our new commentary partnership of Whatwire and Cornish Pirate, F3 champion. Yeah, I was saying it. You got to add the anticipation, build it up a little bit. I think that from what I've heard and what I've seen so far, I think the two of them have been great. Whatwire brings that excitement, and then at the same time, Cornish adds that. Someone said to me, it reminds me a little bit like when you hear the old sort of James Hunt doing commentary, and he's just basically brutally straight to the point. And one of the clips I've seen is he basically is just saying to the driver, nope, back out, and then the driver does it. He's like, yep, good boy. So he brings his own different aspects, but I like it. It's good. obviously would like to see them do well this season. However, I think it's time that we move on to the big league.
Oh,
Yep.
my home. I love this place, especially after that race. It was incredibly entertaining. I've never been so upbeat in a race for a long time. But before we do get to F1, Taz, who is going to win F2 next week?
Who's going to win F2 next week? Well, I would like to back my team owner for this one. I did say, however, and I think he's obviously talked about it as well, that I think that Matt 45 is the man to watch out for in an open track. And I think he's going to do it this weekend.
Well, I'm stuck between. I was stuck between Matt and BXTN, but I think I was siding just a bit more towards BXTN, just because I think he's got that extra bit of knowledge about him. So it's definitely going to be a cracking race in F2. Definitely one to watch, I think, afterwards as well.
100%.
Right then, shall we head there? Shall we go to F1 now? I think is the best
You're
way for
buzzing and can't wait, so on you go. You can go into F1 now.
Prophet, welcome back. I know I didn't get to ask you any questions on the end of the stream on Sunday. Ollie did a cracking job with his questions. But how do you, a few days later, how do you feel? Obviously, qualifying was not the best for you, but it's still quite a high position. But you got a cracking start as well.
Yeah, to be fair, I was quite shocked to be starting P3. But yeah, that's the fastest lap I've done in all practice sessions and everything. And the start, just jumping light shock. Looking at rewatching this now, the pace he had, I would have been better off just sitting behind him and letting him drag me around. But to be fair, I was quite happy with it.
With Squidgy Genie, obviously you saw parts of him last season in F1. He's always been pretty quick. That's definitely without a shadow of a doubt there. But were you surprised at how quick he was compared to everyone else, with anyone else, especially considering Lightshock was the early pace setter, but Squidgy just wasn't having any of it?
To be fair, it wasn't really a shock that he's always been faster than me. But it was the people who were below me that were shocking me, like Jolly's faster, Pickled's faster, Madman's faster, Straka and that head. They should all have qualified in front of me. I don't know whether they chose just to go for mediums for a quali, I don't know. But yeah, I thought he had good pace.
Let's move into the race. It's like we said, you've already mentioned that you should have stuck behind Lightshock just to carry his toe along for you to do it that way, but it wasn't to be. You battled. He then went off and fought, and then there was a safety car. What was going through your head at the safety car? Because I believe you pitted onto hards.
Yeah, I went to hards. I was going to pit regardless of a safety car. I was going to pit on lap 7, but as soon as the safety car comes out, don't matter if it's anywhere between that middle seat, you pit and make the tyres last and just go for it.
And go for it, you did. When you were trying to chase down Lightshock and Squidgy first, what was going through your head? They seemed to just be pulling away. Was it? Were you worried that you weren't?
I was happy to settle for P3. I was like, I'm not going to catch him. I'm not even going to bother. So I was like, I should look after the tyres, just do my own thing. And then Lightshock had his accident, and I think Squiggly said that he had wing damage at some point. Hence the reason in the last, watching the stream back, in the last 4 laps, I just reeled him in.
You were reeling him. I think he had a front left wing plate off with his car from just after the pit, so he did a really good job of nursing it until that point, but I think it just got a bit too much for him in the end. But you were reeling him in, but Master Swain was reeling you in. It was definitely one of the best finishes to an F1 race we've had in a while. Were you worried that Swain was going to get you?
Yeah, because on the last lap, I just lost all my bottle in all of the corners. I was like, nope, I'm not going to hit that one. I was giving it all the corners such a wide berth that I ended up just handing him time. And yeah, I crossed the line with like 1% ERS left, and I think it was 0.2 was the gap.
Yeah, it was close. I just remember having to move back quickly because Pickled Avenger got swamped by 2 racing points at the end.
Yeah.
This is your first victory in F1XL. How does that feel in F1?
To be fair, I was really happy with it. To be fair, I think Mrs. was going to sleep when I woke her up, where I started shouting. But I'm paying for that tonight because I have to cook dinner. Hence the reason why very soon I've got to go. Because if the oven ain't on, she's going to beat me. Yeah, I was over the moon.
Sorry, that was
beat
just
people like fucking. I've already got the text saying she's about to leave.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
So
Got about 15 minutes. As long as the oven's on, I could argue that it's taken a while to warm up.
Let's move to France then quickly. Give you the hopefully give you the advantage. How are you feeling for the French Grand Prix? Is Circuit Paul Ricard something you like, or is this going to be one of the tracks like a few others have said tonight? It's just turn up. If you get some good points, you get some good points, but you're more worried about other races in the season.
Well, so far, to describe my practice is shit. I can't. You know, I come out of the chicanes, I'm short shifting, and I'm just getting loads of wheel spin. I don't know whether I need to try a different setup or whatnot, but I'm not looking forward to it.
Who do you think is one to watch then for the French Grand Prix if you're not going to be up there again?
To be fair, Swain had brilliant pace. Jolly, how he got mediums to the end in the pit, I don't know, but if he was on the right tyre, him, Chris is fast, Cam could possibly do it, Gunhead, there's loads. I'll probably predict myself, I'll probably end up P6, P7. If I had to predict it myself.
Fair enough. That's at least you're being honest with yourself. I think you're not overestimating, which is a good thing. I think, especially after a first victory, a lot of people think that can propel them. But do you think this can propel you into a title fight, or is this just not a one-off, but just we will just go as far as I can?
I think I'll go. I've noticed between the games a lot of things, and I've actually nicked Sky's wheel settings, which helps a lot. So I'm hoping with a bit more practice it'll be alright, but yeah, it's just going to be a DRS train. So I think after I don't know, 5 or 6 laps, I think that'll be the finishing grid unless somebody somehow hits a wall. I don't know how they'll do it, but whether they do or not.
I think the only one that can hit a wall in France is me, so hopefully that's not going to be repeated by someone in an F1. But Prophet, I'll pass over to Taz to see if he's got any questions for you, and then you can run off and turn that oven on.
Yeah. You're damn right I've got questions. I mean, we had the ASR, we had the XL versus I can't remember what it was, SFR competition.
Yeah.
And I said to you, although you had a couple of bad races, you had a lot of pace. Do you think that obviously this is what could have happened if you hadn't had the incidents?
Yeah, I think the way this is set up, this game with the ERS and everything, and the 50%ers, I think as soon as you have an incident, lose the front wing, look at Likeshot, he tapped the wall, was it lap 12, 13? And on the stream he's still sitting 10th, so you'll rarely gain that time back. I think had I done the right strategy call with the other league, probably would have been, I don't know, top 8. But yeah, it's just I need to get rid of those stupid little mistakes.
Yeah. And obviously this is a cracking start for you, but I think you've already highlighted at least once in the fact that this is such a close league this season. Does it make you excited as well, the fact that there's so many different people who could win, and there's actually a decent chance of you potentially being in the title fight this season?
Oh yeah, looking at it, I think whether Jolly's changed his settings or I don't know what he's done with his assists, but his pace seemed to have dropped off like the last end of the last game. But with the other people there, I'd say have a good shout because there's quite a few people who are fast but have a tendency not to finish.
Mhm.
So, yeah, if you want to win it, you've
Yeah.
got to at least finish a couple, in your
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously you said about France being shit. I think that's the right way to put it. How's the calendar looking for you this season? Do you think it's a case of that it's maybe going to be better in the second half, or do you think actually, do you know what, it's a really good start for you?
I think it's a good start. I can only get to say I'm still getting used to Sky's all settings and everything, but I think I'll just get better as it goes along. I just need to get the hang of. Like, I'm watching the stream back. I had never realised I locked up that much all the bloody time. So if I can get a hold of the brakes and stop the lock up again. If I can sort the odd bit of tail happy traction, then I think I'll be able to make a couple of fast guys sweat a bit more.
Yeah. And realistically this season, I know we're only race one, and I always get far too overexcited after race one. But where do you think you can finish in the championship?
I'm personally going to aim for top 5. It's like, yeah, Pred wasn't racing, so that's extremely fast. Lightshock had a bad result. Jolly, wrong tyres. So I'd say, yeah, top 5 for me, and I'll be happy with that.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Gareth, anything else you want to ask him before he has to go and put the tea on? Mm-hmm. Mady, it's the first time I think I've properly had a chance to chat to you, but it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for coming on, and
That's all
hopefully
right.
speak to you again soon.
All right. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.
Right. Cheers, bye.
Thank
Wait.
you very much, Meady, for coming in. And there's just a few things I just want to add on to that. I mean, Lightshock himself, I know he was angry at the point, but just to have the presence of mind, not to just drive too angry and still manage to come home and get a point. Fantastic on his front. And then there was also Sinful Chris, who binned it under the safety car and still somehow managed, I think he claimed P6 in the end, maybe P5, which is just phenomenal. It was 5th. So, and Lightshock got the fastest lap as well. So definitely pushing those guys. But it was great to see just throughout. I really enjoyed that race. It was one of the best races. I will keep saying it. Please go watch it. It was one of the best experiences you'll ever get of F1XL. Maybe not up to the heights of the F2 Championship last season. That was an incredible one. But it's just the start of something brilliant. I think there are so many people up there. The 2 racing points were phenomenal. WRS Cam was doing brilliantly as well. You can just go through the whole of that list. Everyone who finished, maybe apart from Pingers and Xbox Nuthead, who just doing stuff on purpose just to get some stream time. I'm sure it wasn't that. It was just them racing, and it looked like they were just driving off track and hitting each other. But it was really good.
I would like to say one thing though. I haven't had the chance to watch the stream. Obviously, I've been sitting watching it while we've been doing this. I did not realise just how close those front 2 were.
Oh, what, Swain and Meady? It was close.
Swain and Meady crossing the line. That's full on like Bottas and Stroll. Apart from Stroll survived.
Yeah, Ollie said that on stream. It looked like it was gonna be that, and then all of a sudden we had it a few seconds later when poor Pickled was torn apart by Turkeys and TES Gunhead because they were just on the fresher tyres and the faster strategy. But there is some debate about who's finishing where because of Pickled's he got kicked from the session and then came back in. We know that that's a problem within the game, where it doesn't give you a true position. But yeah, F1 phenomenal. It's going to be great to see if Sinful Chris keeps it. Doesn't bin it early on. He's one to watch. Squidgy Genie is just incredibly quick, and he showed that he can keep it on a track and on a street circuit. That's incredible. Okay, that wing damage was harsh on him, and we still haven't had Pred back yet. We've had no Niels 998, no Sloppy Cop, the fastest time trial person there. So and Pickled, who's technically the second fastest. I mean, we've still yet to see the best of these drivers.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I think the fact that, as you've mentioned there, we're going to have 4 or 5 quick drivers coming back. Man, it's going to be exciting.
You can tell by just my mannerism about it how excited I am. It's incredible. I mean, I always try and get myself a bit pumped up for this, but these guys are doing it for me. I could just sit here and be pumped up before, have a bottle of alcohol. No, I don't do that before a stream. But you know what I mean. I have to. Some people have to psych themselves up. I don't have to when these guys are doing it this way. But before we go any further, Taz, F1, French Grand Prix, who's going to do it?
Do you know what? I'm going to back him. There's a good chance he probably won't end up winning. He'll probably end up finishing top 5, but I'm going to back Swain. Many of you will know that me and Gareth are great friends with Swain, and he showed at the weekend that not only is he back, but he's back and he means business, which I have to admit has caught me off guard, and I think Gareth will say the same. We knew he was going to be quick, but we didn't expect him to be that quick this season. So I would love to see him win this race. Paris, fucking Le Castellet. I know, man.
You're just as
been
bad
a long
as me.
stream.
You've been spending too much time with me, mate.
Absolutely.
Swain is definitely a good shout. I will agree with that. I think his greatest strength is his brain over his pace. His pace is good, but his knowledge of everything gets him that little bit further forward. I think he's going to be the ones to watch at every street track this season. I think France might just be... it depends who turns up. If Pred's there, I put money on Pred or Light Shock. Those two are going to be incredible this season. But I'm going to go with my gut feeling on this one. I'm going to go with Squidgy Genie.
Fair. I think he's got less holes to hit, so more chance of a good result. And, it'll be good to see him put a win on the board, because I think one of the things that I know, there was someone chatting in the chat box when the picks were being made, but I think a lot of the team owners were put off by the fact that last season he showed so much inconsistency. He only finished he didn't finish many races that he entered, and when he did finish, he had incidents, or he spun or something like that. And even the event that we had earlier on this season, before the season started, he was doing really, really well. Went for a silly move and then fell right back down to last place. So if he can show consistency, there's no reason why he can't be a big title contender, because he's clearly one of, if not the quickest driver out there in terms of pure raw speed. But we'll see.
And then lastly, this overall constructors. Let's have just a quick rundown of that. The top 3 separated by 6 points. Got Alpha, Renault and Racing Point. I don't think that is the top 3 we expected when the teams were announced.
Definitely not. I think there was a lot of not criticism, but I think a lot of raised eyebrows over Chaos's picks. I know this for a fact because I had multiple messages saying that exactly thing. So it's good to see Renault start off well. Whether they can maintain it's a different story. I think their team owner needs to start pulling his weight as well. Further, Racing Point, part of me is quite happy that that's the case, because I chose that team. But at the same time, I'm bastards. So Alfa Romeo, Dom's a shrewd customer. He knows what he's doing. He's the most experienced team owner still kicking around. He's always been the nearly man, and maybe this is the season where he turns around and goes, you know what, this is mine this time.
I have to admit, I'd love Dom to go all the way on this one, or any of them, to be honest. I hope he keeps going and going, but we'll wait and see. We'll see how it all pans out. But I think that's probably a good time to end the stream and head over to our little bit of a co-op madness.
top madness. Basically, it's watching two idiots try and finish a race. That's how we're describing it now. Would that be fair?
I think it's the only way to last to make it. I think. But with that, thank you very much for coming on the show and watching out there on the stream. Tazo, thank you again for co-hosting with me. Much appreciated and, well, always appreciated. And we will see you, well, on the F1XL show next Sunday for the French Grand Prix, and then obviously the extra show on the Wednesday, a week today, at the time of 7 p.m. And then... well, we'll be heading over to my channel in roughly a minute's time to watch the Shocker and Learner, and no prizes for who you can guess which is which. But we'll catch you guys later. It's been a great stream. Thank you very much.
Thank you.